Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Now today we will start off with our question we ended with last class lesson. So our question was all the way at the bottom. It was just an if statement. If apple is in. Now we can make a longer if by making even more fruits in our tuple and creating an else and if else statement. But I wanted to keep it short and small. Update tuple. Tuples are unchangeable, meaning that you cannot change, add, or remove items once the tuple is created. But there is some workarounds. You may change the tuple values. Once a tuple is created, you cannot change it. But because tuples are unchangeable or immutable, as it also called, but there's a workaround. You can convert a tuple into a list, change the list, and convert the list back into a tuple. So x equal to apple, banana, and cherry. Y equal to list x. Y1 equal to kiwi. X equal to tuple y. Now print x. It's going to print apple, kiwi, and cherry instead of apple, banana, cherry. Instead of only apple, kiwi, cherry, it's just apple, kiwi, cherry, blackberry, strawberry, blueberry, watermelon. Now, so the whole thing we just did is we just created a tuple, but then we turned it into a list, and then we changed the list because lists are changeable, and then converted it back into a tuple to make the tuple into something else. Now to add items, since tuples are immutable, they do not have built-in append method, but there are other ways to add tuple. First, convert into a list, just like we did the workaround for changing a tuple. You convert it into a list, then you add your item or items, and then convert it back into a tuple. An example is that we just made a list, and then we made a tuple into a list, and then we added orange, and then converted it back to tuple, and then converted it back to tuple. Now we added tuple to a tuple. So you are allowed to add tuples to tuples. So if you want to add one item or many, create a new tuple with the items and then add it to existing tuple. Now an example is to create a new tuple with the value orange and add that tuple. As we said in the last lesson, I believe, we learned how to make a tuple that is only one item, and which is orange, and then comma, even though there's nothing after it. Because if we just did orange with the double quotes, it's going to think it's a string. Now a note is when we create tuple with only one item, remember to include a comma after the item, otherwise it will not be defined as a tuple, it will be defined as a string, is what I just told you guys. Now to remove items, you cannot remove an item into items in a tuple, because tuples are unchangeable, so you cannot remove an item, but you can use the same workaround used for changing and adding tuple items. Now this workaround is the converting a tuple into a list, removing the apple, and then converting it back into a tuple. That is used for many things, or you can complete the tuple, like the whole tuple. So let's move on. Now as we move on, we learn about unpacking tuples. Unpacking a tuple. When we create a tuple, we normally assign values to it. This is called packing a tuple. Example, packing a tuple. Fruits equal to apple, banana, and cherry. That's a tuple. But in Python, we are also allowed to extract the values into a variable called unpacking. Unpacking a tuple is fruits, apple, banana, and cherry, green, yellow, and red equal to fruits. Print green, yellow, print green, print yellow, print red, which is apple, banana, and cherry. And I think they used apple as green because there are green apples, but they are sour. But they didn't do red or yellow apples because yellow was already taken by banana and red was already taken by cherry. And if they did the same thing for each one, the computer's going to get confused and don't know which one to print. If we try that out, let's make it a red because that's normally what the color is. And let's see what's going to happen. It's probably going to say cherry twice, but it's not supposed to. So let's move on to using an asterisk. And using the asterisk is so if the number of the variable is less than the number of the values, you may add the asterisk to the variable name, and then the values will be assigned to the variable as a list. Now, if the asterisk is added to the other variable name, the Python will assign the values left matching the variables of the left. Now, we'll add a list of the values, the tropic variable. Now, we have green, which is apple, tropic, which is mango, papaya, and then red, which is cherry. Now, here we have the asterisk before tropic, not red, which is the middle one. It's going to print mango, papaya, and pineapple because they're all tropical fruits. And apples are green and cherries are red. Now, we move on to the loop tuples. Now, you can loop through a tuple using the for loop. Iterate through the items and print the value. This tuple is equal to apple, banana, and cherry. For x in this tuple, print x. Now, we will learn about the for loops later on in the for loop section. Looping through the index numbers. You can also loop through the tuple items by referring to their index numbers. Use the range and len function to create a suitable iterable. This tuple equal to apple, banana, cherry for I in range len to this tuple print this tuple I. And it's going to print apple, banana, and cherry. Now we move down to using a while loop. So now we have finished using our for loop for the tuple loop section or chapter. Now we will go on section of the chapter. Now we will go on to the while loop section of the chapter. Like we're gonna do to the for loop later on in my other videos when we move on to the while loop chapter, we will learn more about the while loop. So you can loop through the tuple by using a while loop. Now you have to use the len function to determine the length of the tuple. Then start at 0 and loop your way through the tuple referring to their indexes. And always remember that the first index is always 0. Now remember to increase the index by 1 after each iteration. Print all the items using a while loop to go through the index numbers. So we're going to learn more about the while loops in the while loop chapter. Now we're in Python join tuples. To join two or more tuples, you have to use the addition or the plus operator. And we learned about the operators in the Python operator. And if you don't remember that, or if you don't remember using the operators or learning about them, maybe you skipped it, or maybe you guys have forgotten it. And for both of those reasons, I would recommend for you guys to re-watch anything that you have forgotten. Now to multiply. Now we will check the Python join tuple. We've done join list and join strings, but now we are on join tuple. Now it's gonna join ABC 1, 2, 3 like we did to our strings and to our lists. Now we move down to multiplying tuples. If you want to multiply the content of a tuple a given number of times, use the star operator. Multiply the fruit tuple by 2. Fruits equal to apple, banana, cherry. My tuple, fruits, and asterisk 2 prints my tuple. And then it's going to print the tuple twice in the same line. Now we move on to tuple methods. So we move on to our homework, which is going to be, I want you guys to go through the tuple methods, all of the tuple methods, and do the tuple exercises. There are, let's see, how many exercises? There are only 4 exercises, so you guys are only having 6 homeworks. Just do the 2 methods we've learned and do the 4 exercises. And the exercises are very short, so it's going to be very easy for today. That's it for today. Bye-bye. Also, if you haven't yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and ring the notification bell so you can know when I post a new Python learning video. That's it for today. Bye-bye. Hope you enjoyed the lesson.